Hello and welcome to the Astrology Forecast. My name is Sage, here as your eye into the sky, letting you know what the cosmic events are for the week, why they matter, and how you can use this information in your everyday life. Welcome to the first week of Leo season. We have officially crawled out of our crab shell and we're officially in Leo season. So happy birthday, aka in astrology world, solar return to all of the Leo sun signs out there. 50% off if you're interested in a birthday reading to know what you can expect for the next 12 months. Link is below. And what a wild week we just had with the Mars-Uranus conjunction, the Trump assassination attempt, which I did discuss on last week's forecast as well. Then we just had Biden stepping down as the Democratic candidate. And all of this is going on during the week when every astrologer was already saying, why in the world were the Republicans, and now I'm pretty sure the Democrats are coming up, having all of these different conventions and rallies? Why is this going on during the most chaotic time of not just July, but honestly, that Mars-Uranus conjunction, which only happens every 3 years, that was one of the most chaotic things of all of 2024. So just know that this is why it's important to pay attention to the stars, and this is why even going back years ago to other presidents such as Reagan, they were using astrology in the White House. In fact, I was just doing a little bit of research and I found out that the whole consensus that it was just Ronald Reagan's wife, Nancy, that was the one doing astrology in the White House and helping to inform him of certain dates that were more favorable than otherwise. That was not the case. It was actually both of them, both Nancy and Ronald Reagan, were equally interested and believed in astrology and used it. So I share that because this has been such a wild political week. And of course, this is not a political forecast at all. This is not a political conversation that I choose to have on this channel. However, when we see huge political events and we see huge basically world events happening and these things are playing out real time and we can see how it relates to what's going on cosmically, it's hard to ignore it. It's hard not to talk about it. If you guys do follow me on Instagram, I did a whole discussion about Donald Trump's birth chart. My Instagram is linked below if you want to click on that link and head over to my Instagram. I do post a lot of content over there that is a bit sometimes different, often very different than what I'm posting on YouTube. So if you're interested in that, you can definitely head over there and check that out. This week, we have a lot of Leo energy going on as the sun is entering Leo. We also have some Virgo energy entering the house. So be aware of where you've got both Leo and Virgo in your birth chart. And if you're not sure, come and chat with me. I can help you break it down and see where everything is going on in your chart, especially because knowing where these planets are, they're very what's called personal planets, meaning they affect us on a much more personal level. Knowing where these are is very fundamental. It's just simply knowing the energy that's affecting you. And who doesn't want to be ahead of that, right? Who doesn't want to be more aware ahead of time, because that way we can be proactive as opposed to reactive. So we are on the heels and just finished up that full moon in Capricorn. So that kind of rounded out last week and also kind of brings us into this following week. It was at the very tail end of Capricorn, that very critical 29th degree. And I definitely encourage you, as you enter into this week, especially if you're listening to this forecast at the beginning of the week, really think back to what began for you in January when we had that new moon in Capricorn on January 11th, and what has culminated for you since then. We just experienced the full moon in Capricorn, the second one of 2024. It was an astrological blue moon, not astronomical, because it did not happen in the same calendar month, but it was still very significant, especially if you've got a lot of Cancer or Capricorn in your chart, in your birth chart. Very crucial to know how this was showing up and reflect on what was let go for you around this time, especially over the weekend. Capricorn is very focused on goals and ambition and achievement. What did you have to let go of in order for you to better reach your goals, right? What is holding us back from that higher level of achievement? It's likely that this full moon in Capricorn showed us that. And now that it's complete and we're moving into a brand new cycle pretty soon, we can really get ready to take action on whatever it is that we let go of and what we have chosen to keep, and that way we can keep moving forward towards those bigger goals. So that was just a quick recap of that full moon in Capricorn, as I did promise last week that I would touch back on it this week. But All of that to say, definitely want to dive into this week, especially with the end of the full moon and the beginning of a whole new sun sign season coming up. Last announcement I do want to make though, a lot of you were voting on my Instagram polls that you are interested in horoscopes. So, what I've decided to do, starting on the next new moon, because it's better to start things on a new moon cycle, okay? We want to align with the energy, of course. So, I am going to be starting to do actual horoscopes where you can listen in for your rising sign. You can also listen in for your sun and moon, but highly recommend you listen for the rising first and foremost. I'll be going through all of that for every single lunar cycle that we experience. So definitely pay attention, look ahead, and be ready, because coming up for that new moon and full moon, I will be going over horoscopes so you can better understand where the moon is showing up for you. But all of that to say, this was a super long intro, a little bit more in depth because I did want to talk about that full moon. But let's dive into this week. We have two major cosmic events, so let's get right into it. So beginning the week on Monday, July 22nd, the sun enters Leo. We are finally emerging from our Cancer crab shell, and we are really stepping into the spotlight as Leo season comes in every single year with a bang, especially because these are the main characters of the zodiac. If you are a Leo, of course, happy birthday. If you're interested in a birthday reading, that is 50% off for the next month. Well, you could say the next 4 weeks, not calendar month, but all throughout Leo season. If you are a Leo sun sign, meaning you're born during this month, these next 4 weeks, of course, that is available to you. Now, let's talk about the sun in Leo, because again, this is the sun's home sign. I always like to say the sun makes its trek around all of the zodiac there. It takes its time through all 12 signs. But let's be honest, there's no place like home. And that is really the motto of Leo season. The sun is arriving home. We know what that feels like, to get home, to kick off your shoes, and to be comfortable. And so, as a collective, we really had to go deep during Cancer season. We had to we had to tap into those deeper emotions. We had to really get in touch. There we go. Get in touch with those inner feelings, our inner world. And now this is completely contrasted by Leo season really bringing us out of our shell and asking us to pay attention to our outer world, right? How we're showing up in the world. Leo season is essentially like being born. You know, we've got Cancer, the sign of the mother, the primordial waters, right? The zodiacal womb, so to speak, right? Basically, life emerges from Cancer season, from water. Especially since this is the first water sign and life did come and does still come from water. And so as Cancer season is basically at its finale, and we are basically being birthed from this Cancer birth canal, I guess you could say. This is getting super, I don't even know. But I hope you guys are following what's going on. This is the whole point, right? The point is to get that from Cancer season to Leo season, we're really emerging from almost like our subconscious, right? From that more hidden place. And now we're being born and we're actually being seen in the world. Hence why the sun is illuminated, it is bright, it is visible, right? This is the sun's home sign. Opposite to, of course, Cancer, which is the moon's home sign, very different energy. One is the conscious mind, sun, the other is the subconscious, moon. Now let's talk about some qualities of the sun being in Leo. Again, if you are a sun in Leo or you have close people in your life that are a sun in Leo, definitely listen and see if some of these do resonate. Leo energy is warm, of course, it's the sun. It's generous, it's loyal, dependable, fierce, regal, luxurious, proud, sometimes a bit self absorbed. Other qualities about Leo, definitely this is the sign of the inner child. So having fun, playing, being silly, being a performer. This is the sign of actors and actresses. As a result, Sun and Leo energy is main character energy, right? This is you being in the spotlight. And so, in a sense, all of us are getting kind of picked up and put into the light and almost being asked to show up, right? To perform, to basically express to the fullest who we truly are, as Leo is also the sign of self expression and creativity. All of these are themes that we might see showing up for us. And again, looking at where Leo is in your birth chart, very, very helpful, because this is where the sun is illuminating. And so these qualities that I just described could now be attributed to that area of your life. So again, this can be, let's say, finances. maybe this is a very generous season because this is a very generous sign, so finances are quite generous. This could also be your children. Maybe this is in this house that deals with your kids. And so you're tapping into that inner child, that more fun, playful energy. Again, this can relate to a bunch of different areas in life. Those are just two examples. Of course, come chat with me if you want to know yours, or if you don't know, you can always look it up online. But if you want more of an in-depth understanding, we can definitely chat. But again, knowing that the sun is in Leo is crucial. The second thing to know is that this is the week where, as soon as the sun enters Leo, it opposes Pluto. Now, we haven't really had this happen yet because Pluto hasn't really been in Aquarius long enough for us to really have an opposition ever before. Now, technically, Pluto is at the very, very end degree of Capricorn, but it essentially is still forming this opposition with the sun. Now, this is very powerful. This is only going to be in effect for really just the beginning of the week. And so really pay attention to where you're starting to feel like you need to assert yourself. Leo is the sign of the self. The sun in Leo is very comfortable with being bravado and proud and regal, right? This is the sign of the lion. This is fixed fire. It's leadership energy. When Leo shows up, it's loud. It's the lion's roar, and you can't help but notice it. This needs to be the way we are with ourselves, right? We need to have that love and that confidence and that lion-like roar and pride that really allows us to show up fully. Now, opposing Pluto can certainly be a bit of a challenge, as Pluto, especially where it's at right now, is really focusing on more collective themes, opposite to the sun being in the sign of the self, which is so focused on, of course, personal things. And so we might notice that we are feeling pulled to essentially identify our sense of self in correlation with the collective. Where do I fit in? And this could be, all this political conversation this week. We might see this showing up on a mass scale. This can be social media really playing a very powerful part in the conversation being had as a collective. Pluto's involvement, Pluto is the god of the underworld. And so Pluto definitely rules over that undertone, the undercurrent, so to speak, of our collective society and of our world as a whole. Let's not just stay focused in our country. This can relate to the entire planet. So, of course, we're dealing with planets. So be aware that Pluto is very powerful. The sun is very powerful, especially being at its home sign. This is kind of like home field advantage for the sun. But it's, again, still opposing a very powerful key player, Pluto, which is asking us to dig deeper, to go beneath the surface, and to really identify what is your level of self-expression and owning who you are, especially opposite to what maybe you're being asked to do in terms of a more collective sense. So those are a couple things to pay attention to with this opposition. It's not super long term, so don't feel too worried, but it is something to pay attention to. Biggest thing I can say for, honestly, the sun being in Leo as a whole, listen to your heart. That's the first thing, because Leo rules over the heart. Every single zodiac sign relates to a particular body part, both externally and internally, right? So not only our external appearance, the different parts of our body, our shoulders, our hands, but also we also can have, there is a correlation between the organs inside of the body, the internal organs, and a sign. So for Leo, yes, Leo does rule the hair, it rules the back, but internally, Leo does rule over the heart. And so really focus on, number one, honoring your heart space. Be authentic. That's number two. Be authentic in your self-expression. Be real, right? Leo is that sign that knows who it is, shows up fully, and owns it. And of course, there's a spectrum here, right? Every single zodiac sign comes with a spectrum of expression. So if you're listening right now and you maybe have Leo in your chart, or maybe a friend that you're thinking about, and you're like, no, they don't really show up that way. Remember, a chart comes with a lot more than just one particular placement. So definitely look beyond just the one or two Leo, or maybe five, who knows, Leo placements you might have. Certainly if you have five, then probably what I'm saying resonates a bit more. But again, knowing all of this is a very important thing, because we really want to make sure that we're honoring Leo energy to the fullest. For the next 4 weeks, the sun is traveling through its sign that it feels most comfy in. And so really own your own pride, your own Leo energy by tapping into your heart space and being as authentic as possible. Express those beautiful sun's light rays, right? Allow yourself to shine and really allow your light to shine to the fullest. Don't allow things to get in your way. Don't self destruct, especially when Pluto's involved. Don't look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh my God, I need to change every single thing. I hate this. I hate that. Take that out, right? We really want to honor ourselves, honor our light, honor our being. And that is really the key of Leo season, is to fully show up in your light and be who you are. That's the key. Be who you are, follow your heart. I know it sounds like a Hallmark card, guys, but Leo season is just that. These are the qualities of Leo season. So, only for 4 weeks, end of August, we're going to be transitioning into Virgo season. But if it is your season and you have a solar return going on right now, shout out to you. Shout out to any loved ones in your lives that have a birthday. Of course, solar returns do mean you have a brand new chart getting activated. If you want to find out more about that, definitely message me. But if not, guys, please look at where you've got Leo in your chart. No matter when your birthday is, we all have Leo in our birth chart. Look at where this energy shows up for you. Look at what energy in your life, what area of life is getting illuminated for the next 4 weeks, and then lean into that. You know, really take ownership of that and see how you can bring it to light even more. And last but not least, the second cosmic event happening this week is on Thursday, July 25th. Mercury enters Virgo. Now, Mercury was in Leo for the last few weeks. Not a very long time, but a good time, right? Because again, Mercury in Leo was fun. It was loud. It was honest. And it was maybe more playful than usual. Again, looking at where Leo is in your chart, very helpful. Now, as Mercury moves into Virgo, this is like the best thing for Mercury pretty much in all of the 12 zodiac signs. This is where Mercury does the best. Mercury is not only in its home sign in Virgo, this is the sign that Mercury actually rules over, but also this is the sign that it's exalted in. So when a planet's exalted, this means that the planet does the best in that sign. It can function optimally. This is the place where it really can shine the best. Now, Mercury is in Virgo for an extended period of time, which is good in a way because of all the signs that Mercury could be stuck in. Having this be in Virgo, not the worst thing. But I do say stuck because we do have a Mercury retrograde quickly approaching. Yes, we actually are in the pre-shadow right now. So that is one thing I want to report. We are officially in the Mercury retrograde pre-shadow, and that is not to freak anybody out. That is not to scare you, but it is to make you aware that this is where we are, and pretty soon Mercury is going to be making its infamous trek backwards through the zodiac. Now, let's talk about Mercury being in Virgo first and foremost. Mercury, of course, being the planet of communication. It's the messenger god. It is the planet of our mouth, our mind, and our mental faculties. When we have Mercury in its home sign, it's also in its exalted sign, so basically the sign that it does the absolute best in. This is where we get communication at the fullest and highest and most efficient expression possible. Mercury in Virgo is high functioning mental capacity. You are quick, you are sharp. If I'm talking to somebody that has Mercury in Virgo right now, you can definitely give yourself a pat on the back because that is one of the best placements that you could have for Mercury. Now, this is again a sign and a placement for Mercury that's very organized, very detail oriented. Mercury in Virgo is quick witted, it is quick on its feet. It's very discerning. Okay, Virgo is the sign that sorts through everything. Virgo is the sign that is very organized, that likes every little thing in its place, right? It's very big on basically having compartments, right? Compartmentalizing. This is a very big Virgo quality anyway. When Mercury's in Virgo, this is the name of the game. Our communication is efficient, it's clear, it emanates clarity to the highest degree possible. We are not tripping over our words when Mercury is in Virgo. We are able to calculate things a lot quicker. We're able to notice the details that we might have otherwise missed. This is really amazing. If you're looking to do any sort of learning, teaching, retaining information, sharing information, calculations, formulas, schedules, anything like that that requires a larger degree of analysis, anything financial, numbers oriented, Mercury in Virgo, please take advantage between basically the July 25th and August 5th. Please take advantage. I say August 5th because that is the day that Mercury goes retrograde, and all of a sudden, all Mercury things are basically being completely turned upside down. And so I don't recommend anything mercurial during the time that Mercury is retrograde. It's a much more inward reflective time, which I will discuss more as we approach that time. However, in the meantime, please take advantage, get ahead of things, start to do your organizing now. If you have a big investment you're looking to make, do it before August 5th. If you are looking to create a schedule, book an appointment, create a travel itinerary, book a flight, anything mercurial, just a couple things I named right there, right? But there's a lot more out there. Anything that involves teaching, learning, if you're looking to, start a course, anything, write a book, a blog post, do it before August 5th, please. It's not that everything's going to go haywire, but it might, right? We just saw a huge Microsoft crash where pretty much all of the world was experiencing some sort of IT delays. I know planes and that was so retrograde. You would almost think it was a retrograde experience, but it is in the sense that it's pre-shadow. So we are sort of getting closer. Although I will say that that was much more to do with the Mars Uranus. That's a whole nother conversation. I did talk about that on my Instagram as well. But again, guys, knowing that Mercury is going retrograde, please just take advantage of the time you've got right now. Hopefully, you're listening to this a little sooner rather than later. If you're listening to it during the week of this forecast, then you should be in the clear to be able to get things done. Also, this includes electronics, back up your technology. I know, like, your phone storage. Oh my goodness, my phone storage every Mercury retrograde completely just kaput. Like, I am always having to offload apps and pay for more storage. Oh my God, it's a disaster. I also need a new phone, and every single Mercury retrograde, I personally am just kind of praying that I get through it because I'm a Capricorn and I'm frugal and I love this phone. I also am big into numerology and I love the number 12 and I have an iPhone 12. Yes, don't come at me. I have an iPhone 12. Shane has a 15, so if I need all the good features, I do have access. But I love my phone. Anyway, point is, I know that when the retrograde is coming, my phone is one of the first things that I'm like, oh, not in its tip top form. So let me make sure even the basic stuff like a screen protector, things like that. Just get ahead of things, get on top of stuff, make sure you're doing your due diligence before Mercury goes retrograde. Now, again, Mercury is going to be in Virgo for a while. We're going to actually have Mercury move all the way back into Leo. So if you didn't get enough of Mercury in Leo, don't worry. There's a little bit more time. Leo rising's listening. You're like, yes, I cannot wait. Because, of course, Mercury is very potent, especially when it is in a fire sign. We really feel that fiery energy coming through. So we're going to feel that a little bit, especially towards the middle of August. I believe August 14th. I think I wrote it down. Yes, August 14th, it will re-enter Leo, and then it's going to stay there until like beginning to middle of September. It'll stay in Virgo until end of September. September 26th is the final day of Mercury's time in Virgo, which from the time it enters on July 25th is a solid 8 weeks, right? This is 2 months. It does, of course, move back into Leo. So we're kind of bouncing back and forth between the Leo and the Virgo places of our chart. So again, pay attention to both of these houses as they're equally getting activated at various times throughout the month in different types of ways. Especially because the sun going through Leo will, of course, move through Virgo during the time that Mercury is making its bounce back and forth. So there will be a lot of influence and activation and emphasis on this area of your chart. So pay attention. If you're a Leo, if you're a Virgo, if you've got heavy placements of those signs in your chart, you're really going to feel this. And as always, even if you are not a Leo, but if you're a Virgo or a Gemini, you're going to feel that retrograde, which I'll discuss more. But pay attention because this is why knowing your birth charts can be so helpful in knowing what's going on astrologically and then applying that to your own life. But yeah, guys, that really is the totality of Mercury in Virgo. We have 8 weeks to talk about it. So don't you worry. We have a lot of time. But again, knowing what the qualities are of Mercury being in Virgo, number one. Knowing where it is in your chart, number two, very, very helpful. And planning ahead, especially with the retrograde impending, equally important. If you can handle doing all three of those things, you are going to be in good shape to deal with Mercury's movement over the next few weeks. And with that wraps us up. So again, I hope this information was of value. Please make sure if you haven't already subscribed, you've subscribed. I would appreciate that. I'm close to that 100th mark and I want to get there. Kind of easing through this a bit slowly, which I don't mind at all in divine timing. But again, if you did get value, please make sure that you are supporting by hitting the like button and resharing and subscribing and all that fun stuff. Again, make sure that you are taking time this week to reflect and also to step into the new energy getting activated. If you're interested in knowing more about your birth chart, if you're a Leo and you want to find out about this upcoming year, birth chart readings, solar return readings, even readings for the month of August, which I will be discussing quite soon. All of those are in the link below. You can hit that link below and get connected with me in every way, shape, or form possible. And thank you all so much for the support. It really does mean so much. I hope this information is of value to you, that it resonates. Take what resonates, let the rest marinate, and have an amazing, absolutely spectacular week. With that, I love you all so much. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you all again next time.